I have bad days. I have flares like a mother. And they kick my A. But hello, my YouTube Spoonies. So I have some exciting news that I'm ready to share, and I also have some exciting material coming up, so I'm super stoked. So first thing, and I gotta quit saying so anyways, so Tuesday, so today is the Thursday, so not too much longer, is my surgery. I will officially be having my pain pump. Yesterday was my 29th birthday, so I will be getting my pain pump at 29 instead of 28 because unfortunately they rescheduled my surgery date after my birthday, so I'll officially be 29 when I get my pump versus 28. But I will be vlogging the night before and the morning of, and when I come out of surgery, and my recovery and my follow-up appointment. And I'm hoping that my surgeon, I can even get him to maybe come on my YouTube channel and maybe say something like benefits or whatever, or something of that sort, so that it's informational other than just my opinion as a patient, but also coming from the provider. And then exciting news for me is after I'm good, well healed, well, I'll share with you one thing is we're taking my son to Boston, to the Boston Children's Hospital in September, and we're going to have him evaluated there because he has heart aneurysms from late diagnosed Kawasaki disease back in 2015. So we're going to go out there and see a phenomenal doctor and get him evaluated because he's been having some issues come up. And then after that, I will be going to New Jersey to train to become a pain specialist support person, so that I can start a pain support group in my community. And my goal is to do it not only within my community, but I also want to host online stuff, which I did try to actually host a Zoom meeting last week, and I had turned it in, like advertised it on my Instagram and Twitter and my Facebook page, but unfortunately I was not well versed in Zoom, so the meeting didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. So I had issues, and I only ended up having one person able to get into the meeting. But hopefully we'll be able to get that up and going, and we can have an online meeting. So when you're in the Zoom meetings, you can be on video and chat like person to person, like you're actually in a support group, so the people that couldn't travel to the support group could actually be there as well. And you wouldn't even have to be from my community, you could be anywhere in the United States. And then also you would, if you don't want to be on video, you could chat on a computer, or you could even phone in and talk on the phone and just listen if you don't want to talk. So I think that is something hugely beneficial, and I'm so excited to go get that training so that I know how to better utilize myself to my pain community and share, and help me too, because I'm sure I'll get valuable information that'll be helpful to me, but I'll also be able to help others. So that's super exciting. And then the final thing is I will be going to Washington, D.C., a part of Patient Congress, to discuss the huge impact and the high cost of patient healthcare costs. And this is a great opportunity. I'm so excited. I have been personally advocating on my Facebook page for and against like the healthcare situations that we get put in. Like in my personal situation, I'm ill, I have a chronically ill child, and when you mix those two together with a high deductible commercial insurance plan, you get stuck paying so much money for medications, stuff that insurance won't pay. They just simply don't cover. They're paying their minimal agreed amount, and you're talking so much money that you know, one person thinks that having a baby is a lot to pay, or they got a broken leg and they had to go to ortho a few times, and people get those costs and they're like, oh my God, I had to pay $5,000 to do this. Well, we have to pay that all the time, continuously. Every year we immediately hit our deductible and we have to pay those costs. Last year we got put into extremely difficult circumstances, which happens to so many people, which is why I'm so passionate about discussing it, is because my husband lost his job last year and he was our insurance carrier. So we lost, and we had already met our deductible for the year because, like I said, we immediately hit our deductible. So that was, I think our deductible with that plan was like, I want to say $6,000 was our max out of pocket, and we had already hit that. So I had to pick up insurance at my work because he had lost insurance and he didn't have a job. So when I picked up insurance with my employer, I work for a healthcare system, and unfortunately my healthcare system only puts their network within their network. So my son's doctors and my doctors were considered out of network for us to see, and it would have been ridiculous for me to switch all of our doctors for a few weeks or months or however long until my husband got another job and we could switch back. Not only that, but they also have the spousal contract on the insurance with my employer, to where I couldn't cover my husband. So not only did we have a deductible for myself and the kids, but then he had to pick up insurance when he didn't have insurance, because if he would have been able to like get another job that had a contractual agreement on us or vice versa, we wouldn't have been able to afford two different deductibles, because I would have had to cover me and the kids, or he would have had to cover him and the kids. So that really would have hurt us. And then, so he got another job, and then we switched to his insurance, back to his insurance, because it's just a commercial insurance and it didn't have any networking on us other than, you know, stay in network providers. But it had multiple networks that we could visit. It wasn't strictly in my healthcare network. So, sorry. So we switched back, and so we had 3 deductibles in 1 year. And when you are chronically ill, and then you have a critically ill child, that is massive, massive, massive medical bills. So I added it up the other day, and I'll insert, well, I probably won't insert the picture here, only because it had our address and everything on it, and I don't want to be showing all that off. But needless to say, I laid out all our medical bills on the floor the other day, and it literally almost covered my whole living room. And then on top of that, once I totaled them up, it was over $28,000, not including medication costs. So if you were to add in medication costs on top of the medical bill costs, I'm almost positive it would have been over. It had to be at least another $5,000 when you think about every month how much we spend on medications for myself and my son. So my point was, I'm just very passionate about trying to find affordable healthcare costs, changing programs that will actually help people that need them. I mean, me and my husband get punished a lot because we both work. So when we go to apply for programs, they're saying, oh, well, you make this much money on your paycheck, so you don't qualify for our programs. But what they don't take in consideration is we're paying our healthcare insurance, and we're paying all these medications, and we're paying previous years and years and years of medical bills, and we're paying this or that, and by all said and done, we are nowhere near bringing home what they think we're bringing home. I mean, credit card bills that got stacked up while our kid was in the hospital, or I was in the hospital, or I literally have had a surgery every year, so I've had to take leave, and that hurts us. I mean, I was working 3 jobs over the last few months to try to save up money to prepare us for the leave I'm going to have to take to go get my pump put in, because I know that it's going to put a financial burden on us when I take that leave. I am a newly hired employee. I switched networks in July of last year, so I'm newly hired. I have no PTO saved up, so I cannot use that while I'm on my FMLA. And that's another thing that really bothers me, is we have the ADA to protect people that work, but we still don't. When it comes to the PTO, it's a very fine line, and it gets all messy, and they fight you on it, and I don't know. It's a lot, and it's not. So I just don't see why it's so hard. But I'm excited to be able to go in front of our congressman and whoever else will listen and discuss why it makes a difference. You know, most people cannot say that they've actually went through medical trauma or seen it or lived it. There's so many times that I meet someone that has never had surgery, that has never been to the doctor, that has never, you know, they maybe had their tonsils out or the wisdom teeth out or something minor. Like, that to me is minor. And I'm like, how did you go your whole life with never having nothing? I guess just because now I'm immune to the fact that we are just messed up. Like, our family's messed up. Like, I'm messed up. My kids messed up. Like, that was just our life. That's our burden. I get it. But it blows my mind when people meet people that's never had to deal with stuff like that. When they're surprised to hear my story and they're like, oh my God, you've had 15 surgeries and you did this and you did that and you did that and this and this. Like, I can honestly say I probably only share 60% of what I've actually gone through, what I've actually experienced. And I always only share one thing at a time. So, like, if I'm sick when I start my job, I will share I'm sick. And then later on, I will share about my son. Never will I do it at the same time, because it's too much for people to handle. There's such a hard stigma on people that are ill or have chronic illness or taking care of sick children, that they immediately judge you or have this perception of who you are, how you're going to be. So, for example, last year I started my job, like I said, in July. Well, my son's Make-A-Wish trip was scheduled for September. So I had immediately told my new boss that we were scheduled for his Make-A-Wish trip. So obviously I would have to explain to her that something serious was up with my son because he qualified for a Make-A-Wish. So I explained to her, you know, this is what's going on, and he's stable, but he's still considered critical, so we're taking his Make-A-Wish. And so we went and had his trip, and then when we got back, it was probably like, we got back in the end of September, so I had October and November. It was like right after Thanksgiving. No, it was after Christmas. It was right after Christmas. I started flaring so bad, and I have not stopped. Like, I would be sick for a week, and then I'd get better. And then I'd be sick another week, and then I'd get better for a couple days. And then I'd be sick again, and then I'd get better for a couple days. And it's been nonstop. So at that point, I had to kind of inform my boss, and I had to file for my ADA, because I was like, look, because they kept asking me questions like, you know, is it a virus? Like, you know, and I'm like trying to like not lie to them, but I didn't want to share too much to where they thought, where I would immediately have this perception on me that, oh great, we hired a broken one, or you know what I mean? So thankfully I had already proved myself in the time that I had been there, within the 6 months or whatever, that they were very much aware that I'm a very hard worker, that when I'm at work, I'm there to work, that I care about the job I'm doing. And so when it came down to me being sick or situations arising with my son, you know, things happening with like me scheduling the surgery and stuff, like they have really stepped up and showed me that they care for me too. And so I've shared more and more and more about me and my disease and why I'm doing this or what this affects me. But if I was to actually lay it all out there and be like, okay, so this happened first, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and sometimes I think people look at me and they see, oh, you're 29. I turned 29. So you're 29 years old and you've had 15 abdominal surgeries. You've had 6 lidocaine infusion therapies. You've done, 6 abdominal block injections, and you've done this and this and that. Like, I mean, I could go on and on of the crap that I've done. I've had drainage put in, and I've had a drain off my stomach for a month, and then I had my bladder rupture, so I had a urine bag for like 3 months. And I think people would think I was lying if I was to come in and just start telling them the stories that I had. I think they would look at me and be like, you're lying, there's no way. But I work every day. I don't want to say I have worked. I work every day very hard to keep it together. I make sure I take my medication correctly and right, and I have bad days. I have flares like I am a mother, and they kick my A, but I'm working on me all the time, and my prayers and hopes are that this surgery will make it to where my flares won't affect me so bad, and not only that, but I also, it takes everything in me to get dressed, go to work, present myself the way I do at work, fight through the day, and then, go home to my kids. By the time I get home to my kids, I'm exhausted, I'm done. So, I get it if people look at me and there's that stigma there, and it's hard to see someone and be like, you're not disabled, you're not. I can get it. I honestly can. I do see that now. It used to make me mad that people would judge it, but I can't say that I don't blame them, if that makes sense. But I'm gonna get off here because I only have so much of a lunch break, and I have to go in here real fast and get something and get lunch and go back to work. So I've talked for way too long. So I will see you guys in the next video. It will be probably, hopefully I can like upload it and do all that stuff while I'm recovering, but we'll see what happens. So bye.